So, according to some people and mainstream media, the recent Case-Shiller housing data is having some people think that we're not going to have a housing correction, we're not going to have a housing crash, we're in a recovery where we've already bottomed out and things can only get better from here. So, welcome to Housing Bubble 2.0 News of the Week, or as I like to call it, another episode of Has the Housing Market Turns? Today is the 31st of May. Randy Patrick here, putting the realism into real estate. Hope you're doing well. Time flies when you're having fun in real estate. And just a quick FYI, I'm not going to really harp on this too much, but we're doing all these things up here. This is the greatest distressed property market that we're seeing in a number of years. I'm doing everything on that list. I'm getting great discounts from lenders on short sales and short payoffs and negotiation. So regardless of what the naysayers are saying, you can still do really well in this type of marketplace. So give me a shout. We'll talk about this. Again, time flies when you're having fun. All right. So if I'm going to check out the information now. So Case-Shiller, this is the fun thing about Case-Shiller is that, everyone sort of looks at this as the sort of be on all of the housing market. They're sometimes it's confusing. So basically, Case-Shiller is released the last Tuesday of the month. I wasn't home in time to get this video done yesterday, so we're doing it today instead. Checking out properties, of course. So yesterday they released the latest data for this month of March 2023. So Case-Shiller is not like National Association of Realtors, NAR. Case-Shiller is a much more complex calculation, and they're about 2 months behind in their analysis or the release of their analysis. So we're at the end of May, we're talking about March 2023. Data released today for March shows a continuing recovery in housing prices as all 20 major metro markets reported month-over-month price increases. Okay, so that's the spin on the press release that we're seeing right now. Okay, if you go into it, well, guess what? There were some decreases as well too. So we had month-over-month increases, but we had year-over-year decreases. So there is kind of the conflict there. Like I really can appreciate the average person, the normal people out there trying to buy a house or try to figure out this marketplace because the information is not clear. It's conflicting. You don't know what to do. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to listen to. So, for me, I kind of know where things are already at because I'm out in the field. I see it. I live it. I breathe it. None of this bothers me because, again, you're going to see months here and there that are better than others. But in the end, the sort of year over year on the sort of larger scale is what we're sort of looking at. Again, we'll go into it a little deeper. Miami, Tampa, and Charlotte were the top 3 locations. So here we go. So, before seasonal adjustment, again, we have before and after seasonally adjusted. So the national index posted a 1.3% month-over-month increase. So did the 10-city and 20-city composite indices. After the adjustment, the increases were national was only 0.4%, and the 10-city and 20-city were 0.6 and 0.5% as well. So, but the interesting part is that we're still seeing on a year over year, that's month to month, okay? Year over year, we did see some reduction. We saw the national being very small, increased year over year, but the 10 and 20 city actually lost. So we're going to go into it right now. So I like that the bottom paragraph says 2 months of increasing prices do not a definitive recovery make, but March's results suggest that the decline in home prices that began in June 2022 may have come to an end. All right. That said, the challenges posed by current mortgage rates and the continuing possibility of economic weakness are likely to remain a headwind for housing prices at least the next several months. So basically, we're giving you conflicting data, and we're saying that okay, it looks like we've hit the bottom, or the slide has stopped, but we don't know yet. So you know what I mean? Like it's basically is double talk, double speak. It's how I look at it. Yeah, we got economic weaknesses, which we all know is still happening. It still affects the housing market. So what they're really saying here is that 2 months, we're saying, hey, we've bottomed out, but 2 months of increasing prices don't make a recovery. But there's suggestion, again, it's confusing. So I do relate to this, and it does kind of annoy me a little bit here. This is I guess you could say, the chart with the monthly for the 3 indices, 10, 20, and national. Obviously, we had exponential home price growth because at the right-hand side, little dip, a little more growth, and then we had exponential decrease. So obviously, a couple indices dropped below zero, and the solid line, which is the national indice, is just barely above above zero there. So keep that in mind. If we take a look at this other graph here, the middle hump is the previous housing peak of 2006. The trough is the 2012 housing trough crash era, and then we go up kind of exponentially, linearly on a high pitch to exponential to 2022. Then we see the drop, and now a slight little uptick here with the past couple of months. But again, we're talking small percentage points, nothing huge here. This is the bar graph. So obviously 2006 peak was July 2006. 2012 trough was in February. The current is where we are right now. So essentially, the current is almost 61% greater than the previous peak. If you bought during the trough, if you take a look at that, current from trough, you've more than doubled the house value of your purchase, which is good for you. So keep that in mind. Now, this is the fun part about real estate, or maybe the annoying part, depending on your perspective here. So when stuff like this, when the Case-Shiller information comes out, it's how whoever writes an article or talks about things spins it. Everybody's got their own narrative. Everybody has their own income to protect and operations to protect, and I get that. Elon Musk warns house prices are set to plunge, says commercial real estate is in meltdown, and then afterwards the residential market is going with it. House prices are declining in these 7 western states while continuing to hit new heights across the rest of the country. That's kind of true. Lenders pull hundreds of mortgages as economists warn of fresh house price falls. So yeah, they're pulling deals at the end. They're not going to finance certain deals for whatever reason. So this is the type of stuff that we see out there that probably makes the average person go nuts. So folks, if you enjoy the information I provide, if you could please hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate that. And if you think you're already subscribed, if you could please hit the button and resubscribe, hit the bell notification, because my views are down, my subscribers I'm losing all the time. So thank you very much for watching the videos and your patronage. All right, let's take a look at more information here. So this is now more, well, I won't call it granular, but this is the 20-city composite. So if we start from the top, and again, this is year-over-year change on the right-hand column. Atlanta was up 4.5%, Boston up 0.8%, Charlotte 4.7%, Chicago 4%, Cleveland 2%, Dallas lost 1.2%, Denver lost 3.6%, Detroit up 1.2%, Las Vegas lost 5.1% year over year, LA lost almost 3% year over year, Miami was the leader this month, up 7.7% year over year, Minneapolis with a very small 0.5% year over year, New York up 3.3%, Phoenix losing at 4.5%, Portland down 4.6%, San Diego down 5.3%, San Francisco down 11.2%, Seattle down 12.4%, Tampa up 4.8%, and Washington down 0.2%. So if you take a look at that list on the year-over-year half, so 10 out of the 20 of the 20, the 20, the 20-city composite index, 10 of the 20 had losses for the year-over-year. If you go to the second column from the left, that's the February to March change. That's where they're saying basically every one of the 20 had a month-over-month increase. So the value in February compared to the value in March, there was increases. Now, the biggest increase I see here is a 3% for San Francisco. So even though the month-to-month increased 3%, it still lost 11.2% year over year. So yes, you're going to have these small blips and trends on a monthly granular level, but overall, when you take a look at the broader picture, we're still sliding across the board. The 10-city composite index at the bottom there is down 0.8%, the 20 down 1.1%, and the national index was up 0.7% across the board. So when I take a look at that number, to me, that doesn't mean the housing crash is not coming. That doesn't mean the housing correction has stopped. It doesn't mean we're in recovery mode. It doesn't mean we've hit the bottom, okay? It just means that things are slowing down. And there's a lot of factors that we play in to the market as time goes on, all right? So again, more of these headline surfing things that I do. I'm not going to show you the articles because, quite frankly, you can look them up yourself here. I just picked these off Yahoo.com's page. So, big short investor who called the 2008 housing market collapse warns about another big threat to home prices. All right, housing market 2023 prices are now so high that banks are losing money on mortgages. Okay, so why actually give mortgages if you're losing money? U.S. home prices to fall less than expected despite high borrowing costs. So again, we're seeing differences of opinions based on whoever the articles are being written. Home prices surged in March, and it could mean that price declines are over, S&P says. So this writer basically, to me, is saying a 0.7% increase annually is a surge. Well, I don't really think that's a surge personally. And even if you take a look at the month-to-month change between February and March 2023, they're not surging. Okay, we see marginal nominal increases here, and it could mean that price declines are over. It could mean that price declines are over, or it could not mean. You see, so this is why I love journalism. This is why I love headlines, because everything's open for interpretation, and it's kind of whatever spin you want to put on it, you'll put the spin on it. All right. Me, you know my spin. I've never deviated from my spin or narrative since day one of doing these videos. My point, though, is that I can back it up because I'm actually out in the field doing deals. I'm actually out in the field buying, selling property, working with clients, working with large investors who certainly know where the market's headed and have adjusted their buy and sell routine, their positioning, their expectations, their price points, their offer prices. Everybody that really does deep dives into real estate knows where the market's headed and is hedging against further decreases in home value. Simple as that. All right. So that's what they tell me. Now, this is interesting too. Won't keep you long. House bill would incentivize home selling in efforts to boost supply. So this was actually tabled by, it's called the More Homes on Market Act, tabled in the U.S. House of Representatives by reps from California and from Pennsylvania, both a Democrat and a Republican. That's cool. They would amend the tax code to incentivize more homeowners to sell their houses, increasing the supply of homes available on the marketplace. So what's the whole point here? Well, if you own a primary residence and you sell the primary residence, provided you meet the IRS tax code, which is living in your primary residence the past 5 years, you buy your primary residence for X, you sell it for Y. If you're a single filer of taxes, you can make up to $250,000 on that sale and not have to pay tax on that. If you're filing joint, married, spouse, whatever configuration you have in your life, who cares? You have $500,000, which is not too bad. Well, I guess what their bill is saying, let's increase the $250,000 to $500,000 for single filers. Let's increase the $500,000 to $1 million for joint filers. And that would be, so if housing prices have increased that much, now you're not being penalized for putting your property on the market and selling it. So, is the concept interesting? Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's not a bad concept. But let's take a look at things when it really comes down to it. So if I bought a property and I'm a single filer and I'm able to make $500,000 on my property, am I going to put that on the marketplace? I don't know. Well, I might do that. But who's going to buy my property? Because if I've made up to $500,000, who's going to buy it? Because now they're just paying for my equity, essentially. They're buying at a premium, and up to 500K is greater than the median price point across the U.S. Where this may make sense in specific locations that have had huge price appreciation traditionally over the years, like some West Coast locations or cities. But I can tell you here, the median price point in Florida is not $500,000. Okay, so is that going to help me sell my property? I don't know. All right, I just don't know because again, if I'm listing my property for for X number of dollars plus what I paid for it, is that affordable to the next person who's going to buy it? So I don't know whether this concept really helps affordable housing or that concept will really have buyers coming to the marketplace, because now maybe as a home seller, I have more confidence that I'm going to make more money on my home and not pay taxes, but I'm still in the so okay, does that bring more properties in the market? It could. Does that create competition between sellers? It could. Does that mean people will have to reduce prices to be competitive? It could. So there's an underlying theory to all this, but again, with respect to housing prices still being very, very high and interest rates still being very, very high, I don't know whether the average person, average home buyer, can afford this still. So I do think it helps the people who are buying and selling much more expensive properties in much more expensive locations. It might make a difference in some of those markets a little bit, but I don't think this substantially is going to change the outcome of where the housing market is. Yeah, it's a nice little uptick for home sellers, but if you think about it, I can ask whatever I want for my property. It just depends on whether a home buyer is willing to pay that price and can they afford it. Simple as that. So that's how the market works, but I did think that was interesting. You can see that people are concerned about housing. Now it's at the government level, which is fine. And again, I applaud any sort of idea or concept to make homes more affordable, give more choice to people, have more people buy properties. But you just have to wonder who it's actually helping in this case, number one. And number two, it really is an admission. I mean, the Fed's already given us their admission back almost a year ago in June 2022 about their increase in rates, saying that the housing market is way too expensive and we need to reset the housing market. Let's not lose sight of that, all right? Let's not lose sight that the Fed basically said we have to reset the housing market for first-time home buyers and the average buyers who want to, either move up or move down in housing price points and locate and structure, basically. So we can see where things are at. Has the housing market crashed yet? Hasn't crashed. Has it slowed to a crawl? Pretty much has. Are the foreclosures building behind the scenes in the shadow inventory? Yes, they are. Have they manifested and hit the marketplace yet? No, they haven't. So more still to come to see how this plays out. And again, has inflation hurt us? Yes. Are there job losses increasing? Yes. Are wages keeping in line with housing prices, same growth pace? No, they're not. So we could talk about this for hours, and I can do that. And again, you just do a little bit of investigation on your own. You can see where things are at. The housing market's not out of the woods yet. I don't think personally that stuff like this will make a big impact. It might help some people, but as far as this driving price points down for the average buyer, ain't going to happen. All right, not going to happen here. All right, guys. So as I mentioned before, if you're interested in learning, what I do or what we do and how you can buy homes at a discount, literally closed a deal on Friday. We got about a 40% discount from the lender. Okay, so stuff like that can actually happen. It's about positioning. It's about knowing what to do. It's about expectations being set accordingly and knowing how to work the system ethically, legally, morally, the whole bit. We don't do anything wrong. We just know how to work the system, okay, to get ourselves better prices. So whether you're a home buyer looking for a primary residence, whether you're looking for cash flow rentals, fix and flips, flipping property just to make income, extra income, building wealth, these are the things that we're involved with besides more. So you know what? Reach out to me and we can talk about what I've got to offer, okay? Anyway, everybody, appreciate the views, likes, and comments. Please share the video with your family and friends. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We'll look forward to speaking with you before week's end. Take care.